All right, good morning, everyone. We're starting a new month now, and in this new month, we're going to use the theme quote from the brilliant, inventive, creative genius Thomas Edison. And we're likely going to say this every week in hopes that this quote will get fully and totally embedded in your mind and your heart. And that quote is, let me start over. If we did the things that we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. And I'd like to make that personal so that we can say that together. If I did all the things that I am capable of doing, I would literally astound myself. Let's say that together. If I did all the things that I am capable of doing, I would literally astound myself. How's that feel? Would you astound yourself by doing all that you're capable of doing? All right. Well, you guys are on the right track. Okay. Well, this month, I want us all to be astounded, literally astounded with the power that lies within us, that rests within us, that is close as our hands and feet. That power that enables us to do things that we didn't know we were capable of doing, but that we are capable. I know Larry, he astounded himself this week when he dealt with his son's motorcycle accident. He brought a power up within him that he didn't know was there, didn't he, Larry? So, said a different way, our focus this month is going to be on the power that we have at our fingertips to succeed. However you define succeeding. Perhaps you define succeeding as a purpose-filled vocation, a soul-satisfying relationships, dynamic, vibrant, radiant health and vitality, a deep, abiding sense of oneness with God, an abundant flow of prosperity, walking in a state of grace and inner peace, experiencing deep and abiding joy regardless of conditions or circumstances, making a profound difference in the lives of others. Or how about all of these things and more? However you define success, this is the month to astound yourself by recognizing and aligning with your inner creative power to be and do these things. In his book, Creative Mind and Success, our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote in this, thank you, David, for the wonderful reading by Goldsmith, but this is Ernest Holmes' words about what David was talking about. Holmes wrote, if we are made in the spiritual image and likeness of God, then our mind must be made out of God's mind. Also, we must have the same power in our individual lives that God has in the universal. If all things are created by the mind of God and our mind is part of God's mind, then we are able by thinking, believing, to set in motion a power that creates. Of course, we do not create that power. Neither do we coerce it. It is ours to use either rightly or wrongly, which is, I think, what enlightenment is learning to use this power correctly so that we can get the most from it. And our right use of power produces love, happiness, abundance, health, success, all of these things that we've been talking about. And wrong use of the power doesn't create those things. So this month we're going to use this spiritual concept that we are one with the power of the universe to create and we can use it to create a successful life. And we're going to put that concept into practice by using some tools and techniques from a book entitled Success Principles: How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be by Jack Canfield, so that you might literally astound yourself. And I just want to, just a note, this book, I tried to get copies that we could sell in the bookstore, but the distributors were out of them. They didn't know whether they could get them anymore, but you can get them online. It's Jack Canfield, Success Principles. There are 64 success principles in this book. Obviously, in the 4 weeks of May, we're not going to be able to cover all of those, but we've selected a few that resonate with us, that seem to be the more important ones, and I encourage you, if you would like to, order the book and explore the others on your own. So today we're going to lay the foundations for success by exploring two fundamental principles. And the first one is probably the basis for our teaching of the science of mind, and it's take 100% responsibility for your life. And according to Jack Canfield, this is the foundation on which all the rest of the principles are laid. So what exactly does it mean to be 100% responsible for your life? Well, I think that everything comes into our lives in, maybe 4 different ways. First of all, we create it, of course. We also allow a lot of things to come into our lives. And a lot of things come into our lives and we promote them. And another way they come into our lives is we step in it. Everybody knows what stepping in it means, don't they? Yeah. Well, stepping in it means that we don't see any way that we had anything to do with bringing that into our lives, yet here it is. And there are certainly times when we can't see, at least not in the moment, but we're still responsible for how we respond to what we stepped in. And that makes all the difference in the world. One of the greatest ways to take responsibility is to use a formula that Jack Canfield gives us in his book, which is, if Mary would put that up there, Mary. Oh, there it is. It's on the bottom, yeah. E for event plus R for response equals O for outcome. Pretty simple, right? So if you don't like the outcomes that you're currently getting, there are 2 basic choices you can make. Either you can blame the E, the event, for the O, the outcome. In other words, you can blame the economy, you can blame the weather, blame the lack of money, the lack of education, the current administration, the former administration, your spouse, your boss. If you're a golfer, you can blame your clubs. If you're a guitar player, songwriter, you can blame your guitar. Oh man, there's no songs left in my guitar. You probably blamed a few of these. All of these conditions actually do exist. We know that because we all deal with the conditions and circumstances in our lives. And they may be things that you have no control over. You just stepped in them. But they're not the deciding factors of success. If they were, no one who ever encountered them would ever succeed, right? So the first choice is not the response of the person who astounds himself or herself with what he or she can do. The second one, however, definitely is. Your second choice is to change your R, your response, to the E, event, until you get the O, the outcome that you want. This is not Einstein, is it? We tried to make it look like Einstein, but You can change your thinking. You can change the picture that you hold in your head. You can change your behavior. You can change your life. What have you got to lose if you change it? How's it working for you, as Dr. Phil says? What you're doing, how's that working for you? The definition of insanity, you've all heard that. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So remember this formula, E plus R equals O. And our second principle is to be clear why you are here. This is important too. This is very basic. After taking 100% responsibility for your life, the second one is to get in touch with what you are put here on earth to do or to be. And it's a big one for all of us, I know. And a lot of us struggle with this. You've all heard the statement by Marianne Williamson, who said, "You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And finally, you were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within you." It's a powerful statement. Jack Canfield writes in his book, "With a purpose, everything in life seems to fall in place. To be on purpose means you're doing what you love to do, doing what you're good at, and accomplishing what's important to you. When you are truly on purpose, the people, resources, and opportunities you need naturally gravitate toward you. The world benefits too, because when you act in alignment with your true life purpose, all of your actions automatically serve others. You have a purpose. Within you, there is a purpose, and this purpose will not leave until it is fulfilled. It will actually be like the pea under the mattress of the princess. You've all heard that, right? It won't let you rest until you discover it. And you might postpone discovering it for years. But because God implanted that purpose in the center of your being where it cannot be erased, where it cannot be lost, what we can do, and we do this very well, is we can lose sight of it. We can temporarily forget it for a long time. But we argue against it. We pretend it's not there. Yet because God has put it there, we can't erase it. We can't lose it. And it reminds me of the wonderful verse from Jesus' words from the Gospel of Thomas in the Gnostic Gospels. He wrote that if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I know that sounds, pretty heavy, but it's the truth in essence. I mean, it's beautifully said that way, that there's something in there that's got to be expressed. And that's where our joy will come, is by expressing it. So, what is your purpose? It isn't to win the lottery, though you might win it. It's not to become a country music star, though you might become one. It's not to become a savior of the world, and you probably won't. But your purpose is to awaken to who and what you are in God, and who and what God is in you. We've said this before, and I think those words are really beautiful and wonderful, but what do they mean in our practical day-to-day lives? I think that two fundamental elements exist in the purpose of awakening to who we are in God and who and what God is in us. And those two things are joy and service. What brings you joy? And how does it serve the world? And there are many, many ways to approach defining your purpose. And there's a very powerful way and extremely simple exercise that Jack Canfield gives us in his book, Success Principles. It involves spending a little time in quiet reflection and asking yourself 3 questions. If you could put those questions up, Mary. Yeah, okay. 3 questions, and then combining the answer to these 3 questions into a statement. And if you don't have some paper and a pencil, our ushers will bring around some paper. Or you can take a picture of it and take it home. I forgot about that. You know, I'm old school. You know. I still don't know everything that my iPhone can do, you know, or I can't think of using it. Anyway, you can do it any way you would like to do it. You can also buy the book if you want to get the full benefit of it. But the first one is to identify within yourself what your unique personal qualities are. For example, enthusiasm, creativity, logic, passion, humor, music. So identify what your qualities that are unique to you are. And then second is to ask yourself, what are 1 or 2 ways that I enjoy expressing those qualities when I'm interacting with others? You might enjoy supporting, inspiring, entertaining, motivating, teaching as a way to express those qualities. And next, assume that the world is expressing perfectly right now, because it is. What does this world look like? How is everyone interacting with everyone else? What does it feel like? Write your answer in a brief statement in the present tense, describing the ultimate condition, the perfect world as you see it and feel it. Remember that a perfect world is a joyous place to be. So your statement could be, for example, everyone is freely expressing their own talents. Everyone is working in harmony. Everyone is expressing love. And for Centers for Spiritual Living, creating a world that works for everyone. And then finally, you combine the answers to these 3 questions into a single statement. For example, my purpose is to use my creativity and enthusiasm to support and inspire others to freely express their talents in a harmonious and loving way. So there you have a purpose statement. And this is how you're going to express who and what you are in God, and how God is going to express who and what it is in you. Yes. It's your homework. Right. Yes, yes. Yeah. So it's important to do this, and it's important because with a purpose, life seems to fall into place, as Jack Canfield wrote. To be on purpose means you're doing what you love to do, doing what you're good at, and accomplishing what's important to you. And it's important to know what's important to you. Being on purpose means God is expressing at the highest level through you. You know, as a personal example of this, I know that I was in the music business for many years, and I love music. I enjoy music. I think in the end, though, I really didn't enjoy the music business. And so somehow we transitioned into being ministers. And I think that was because that I found that the joy there that I didn't get in the music business in serving others through this teaching, which I have been in for 35 years now. And so sometimes it takes us a while to find out what's truly within us and what is truly important. But I think these exercises help you get to that. So we have our first two ideas for the month of May. You got your homework. And we all start in consciousness, in the consciousness that we have now. Ernest Holmes says, where do you start? You start from where you're at. And you first take responsibility, 100% responsibility for your lives, and then get clear why you were here. And these two ideas will form the foundation of the other principles that we cover the rest of the month. And so this week I encourage you to look at that Einstein formula, E plus R equals O, and remember that you only have control of the R. But that control of the R is everything for your success. And then take the time, some quiet time, to do the purpose exercise this week that we put up on here on the board for you. And finally, remember that you were born to make manifest the glory of God. And you don't serve the world by playing small. So are you ready? Yes. You ready to serve the world in big ways by succeeding in life? Yes. Are you going to astound yourself? Yes. All right. So it is.